Hello and welcome to another edition of Utopia News Warcast for age 92. It's the age of ancestry and the date is February 9th, year 5. I have some special guests with me here today. They can't quite say anything just now, but we'll get to that momentarily. Just talking quickly about the WTF and Crosswords War, as well as one of the other wars that we will identify as we come to it. Um, Looks like having some troubles there. Hopefully that didn't impact anything. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this, except it looks like we lost one of our special guests. I think he's going to have to rejoin. Okay, so let's just jump into this. Basically, what I kind of wanted to do was look at the wars that had happened, when we missed the podcast the last time, that would be January 7th, year 5 wars. Hopefully our guest will rejoin here momentarily. Anyway, in the meantime, uh, just want to highlight, WTF defeats Utopian Crosswords. Congrats to new Daddy Alex defeats Boats and Hose. Olympus defeats Spirit Drinks, and having a premium quack beer defeats Duxus Quack. Now, the war that we wanted to kind of talk about was actually the Crosswords War. But it looks like, again, as I said, we lost our special guest. I'm going to take a quick look here. Uh, oh, you know what? He's on his way back. Steven, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, cool. All right, so everyone should be able to hear you guys now. I apologize to all the viewers. There might be some feedback on the line identified by Steven there. So
Yes, no
we're
worries.
just going to go ahead and jump into this war right away. So Steven, what can you tell us about, how did this war start exactly?
We screwed up the entire start of it. I mean, before the war started, um, we knew they were going to wave us, and we were getting ready for a learn wave on can't remember what kingdom, and we hit out with our top five offenses, and then they started
Nice.
hitting us. So
Yeah.
we had to sit home for 12 hours until we could play.
Oof. And did they get another wave in on that in the meantime then?
No, they just waved a hostile. They probably should have full waved, but they didn't. And they waved a hostile, and we started to Drake halfway through. And props to the kingdom because we're not usually that active, but in about a tick, we funded it all the way. So that's
Yeah.
happy.
That's awesome. I mean, it's definitely, the Utopian Crosswords has had some pretty tough wars recently. I mean, they were one of the first kingdoms besides Romania to go up against Marco earlier in the age, and that was, that war was showed us that, how important it was to train elites and ceasefire this age, because, what we did know from that war, besides the fact that it was Orc versus Orc Avian on the Barco side, you know, they fully trained or mostly trained elites, whereas Crosswords had almost no elites in comparison, and they suffered greatly. I mean, we all saw how that war played out. But how did it look from your core side when we look at the Orc side of things? How did that play out?
I mean, it was the first war we've had that was orc versus orc. Um, and not being hybrid, you got the town watch versus the 50% growth bonus. Every other war we've had so far has been against hybrids pretty much, and controlling peasants is key on their core. But against orc, just we just destroyed their core. That was our kind of plan from the start.
Yeah, and
As
that's
soon
that's
as we
something I
couldn't break down
noticed.
the paradigm.
Yeah, and that's something, identified. I identified that in the video as well. Like one of the things I was saying was that it looked like you guys were really targeting their core a lot more, or you were at least doing a lot more damage to the core than they were. I mean, if we look at just the quick numbers here, look how many orcs are at the bottom, and you got a couple dwarfs spackled in there. But I mean, if you look at their side of things, it's like orc, dryad, orc. I mean, that's like in most of their core right there. Um, so I mean, oh sorry.
It's important to it was important to drop their dryads too early. I mean that pop bonus is not something to sniff at, and you can't really off dwarf dryads very well. So you got to take them down.
Yeah, and so how did you play your Dryad there? I mean, you got two of
Our,
them actually.
honestly, our we hit TMs when we could, but middle of the war we started just turtling them, so they were basically UB from their core.
Yeah, so
I mean, they could hit
basically
them
basically the
a
way
few
you'd play
times, but
play any support caster that's attacking, essentially.
yeah, they
Yeah.
just soaked up ops, and their elves just or their fairy core just spent ops on them. You know, just soaking up ops, not doing much damage, and we were able to throw peons and run away. So,
So how many massacres? I gotta look at that data again. But how many massacres were there on their core? Like, did you massacre everybody? 35
35 or something.
massacres. Yeah, a totaling of almost 30,000 population. So those were all on their core orcs, right?
Yes, we
Wow,
did not massacre any TMs.
that is
We
that is brutal.
we but to be honest, before those massacres, we were already NSing the core. Like we probably NS'd at least I did some rough calculations before this. At least 20,000 troops
Wow,
NSing with our orcs on there.
that is pretty awesome. And that's something I like to see in every war. Every corps should have the capability of either slinging fireballs or both, or and NS. Like that should almost be a prerequisite to playing in the core. However, sometimes core gets assigned to intel roles, but there's other ways around that, or they could do all three. To be honest, I mean, it's good to see how well your players utilize their stealth and mana in this
I've
war.
never seen anything like it. I mean, I've never had an orc NS another prov on 0.5 TP.
No, there
Nothing.
was there was one age where I played an orc like necromancer, so that was kind of like a support caster at the time, and that's actually what our core was made up of primarily. They kicked butt. I mean, I followed a similar strategy where I was kind of turtling at the end, and if they did take me down, I had no problem getting back up there. Um, it was an extremely nice province actually, probably one of my favorite orcs to play. Um, so yeah, I mean, support casters are pretty freaking sweet, and orcs are awesome. Hope everybody knows that. There should have been a lot of orc picks this age, but there weren't as many as I thought. But definitely, I think one of the winning attacker combos. What would you say was the hardest part in dealing with their fairy wall? Because I mean, when I talked to the monarch of Crosswords, he was so sure that the wall was going to stay strong, and that was what was going to win them the war. Um, would you say like just your TMs were stronger in this sense, or what allowed you to overpower their TM wall?
Well, they, I mean, they started hitting out with their TMs, which let them grow, let them stock crazy peasants, and we knew we had to control them. Um, in between Dragon Fund, we seemed much faster at Dragon Funding on the same. In between that, we would fund our elves to pump TPM. So, and then switch to TDs, bump TDs from 10 to 20%, just funneling GC, souls, whatever we could. And I think that made a huge difference at the end, but it only came down to the end for that. We hit them when we could get away with it with our dwarfs. You look at dwarf on 60K defense and their whole core can hit them 1-2x. They might drop them halfway, but sometimes it's worth it when it drops them 5K peasants on a TN.
Yeah, I mean, definitely losing those peasants really hurts. I mean, I think one of the other things the monarch says is that they were actually up peasants at one point. I think that was like over
Yes.
36 hours ago. But
Yeah.
again, they're relying pretty heavily on that wall, and considering how many acres you had stashed away already, I mean, we all know that if you can't
They
hold
couldn't
the
fireball
acres,
all of the crowds.
yeah, and that's right, because I mean, once you get up to that, there's so many peasants being birthed, and you can't control them all. especially when you only have like 6 provinces that are able to do it. As you said, you did massacre their core, so that does hurt their WPA as well. And the more they grow, the more useless they are. So of course that goes hand in hand with net worth. So basically, really all they had to fire at you was those, were their unbreakable ferries or their ferry wall that was kind of sitting at the top for them. Um, is there anything else you wanted to say to Utopian Crosswords, or anything that you wanted to point out
Yeah,
about this war?
there is something about that. I mean, we were up way on land, and our core had no peasants, but with orc, when they would hit up at us 200% range on our orcs, I mean, the transfer of peasants really was huge. Like that's not something to scoff about. The massacres barely did anything really when you're talking about the peasant transfer, and people, I think people underestimate the transfer of peasants on hits.
Yeah, on hits. I mean, yeah, like especially on your opening hits, or when there are lots of peasants there as well. I think everyone kind of gets so excited by the acres incoming or the amount of kills that they get that they totally forget that on traditional marches you take peasants away, and the more attacks you have, obviously the more peasants you're taking. So I mean, it's you can control peasant populations in a sense with that, but also shore up your own at the same time. So those big attackers, those big orcs that they had, or rather that you had, that WTF had, for everybody listening, they weren't as hard pressed to fill their peasantry because, well, Crosswords was also generating peasants that they kept taking. And when you can hit more and hit more provinces, obviously you're going to be taking more. So it's just eventually, it was just compounding factors that snowballed out of control for Crosswords that resulted in their loss of the war. But again, both kingdoms are extremely well versed in war. They've been around for a while. Everybody knows about them. Everybody's heard about them. Either way, two great kingdoms to face off against. I hope you enjoy your ceasefire, Stephen. I know you've already started drinking, or you've been drunk for half the day, or drinking half the day. I can't keep track because I feel like I've been just working all day. I
Yeah,
think
been more
you
than
messaged me my lunch break, and you're just like, "Yeah, let's do a. How's this gonna work out? I'm not gonna be home for like
okay.
absolutely."
I'll give props to Persian. It was a good war.
Yeah, it's definitely a great war. I think we had a good time covering it in the podcast as well. So thanks so much for that. And did you have any final words you want to say to the community before I start getting into the February wars?
Just thanks to every leadership person who plays this game and puts in the time. It's fucking massive.
Yes, so that indeed, that indeed. And with that, I'm just going to mute you, Stephen. If you have something to say, just let me know, and I'll turn it back on. Thanks so much. All right, so that was Stephen from the WTF Kingdom sharing his insights on the war. We were trying to get Persian Cat to join us, but unfortunately he's able to make it tonight, which is not terrible. I'm sure he'll have some commentary for us later. But in the meantime, let's flip back to our wars in progress here. We're going to switch over to the newest chart. I did have to reload up the chart because in my haste to getting everything ready for tonight's broadcast, uh, I actually missed one of the wars, so there's actually an additional victory tonight that we're going to go over. So, Unknown Kingdom for 12 defeats Marauding Critters. Finally, that war comes to an end after about 9 days or 8 or 9 days. Retirement Home defeats Evil Friends. We have now. See, there's a couple kingdoms also been tagging with my name on it. I think it's kind of cool. I'm not sure I understand this one though, but sure, why not? We have a Random Wind defeats Dyslexic Defenders. Looks like they're recooting. So anybody that wants a sweet kingdom, check out Dyslexic Defenders. Drunk Party defeats Chaos Neverending. I didn't really expect to see that. Chaos Neverending has been kicking butt all age, so interesting to see them beaten by kind of an untagged kingdom that could be somebody, but you never know because 5-6 isn't exactly the highest number, so they didn't have that many reservations at the end of the age, which means they might be rolling with some totally fresh faces. So best of luck to you guys there. Chain Gang is not Warbirds. Defeats Pillow Talk is Evolution. There was a lot of speculation that 404 was Warbirds. A lot of people were trying to point that out in several different places. I just want to say, from my own insight, just right off the bat, it's kind of fishy that that would be Warbirds because that number's just a little bit too low for them. I mean, 4-4, you only get that number, that low of a number when you have very few reservations, and Warbirds is one of those kingdoms that doesn't actually have a problem finding recruits. Actually, Warbirds has to turn people away because they have like when they have veterans return, for instance, they can't do any recruiting. But again, that's just one of those kingdoms that you're not likely, far less likely to see in those lower numbers. Like, if you want to look for warbirds, look in the sevens or eights. That's more likely where you're going to see them. But I have no clue where they are at this time. I mean, they could be anybody. Another kingdom I wanted to point out was this 7-4 kingdom, who's currently warring 7-4 versus 7-12. I think 7-4 thinks that I'm the monarch of 7-12. And I'm just going to just show you guys why. I mean, he messaged me during the day and he was asking, is this you? Because of the banner here. I mean, let me just get this wars thing out of the way. Yeah, so he says, hey, is this you? Because of this banner thing that I've got here. I mean, it's a pretty sweet banner. Whoever made it, good job. I mean, I like it. I almost made my profile picture that for a bit, but that probably would have just confused them more. But he was asking me if I was actually Sailor Moon. So I can tell you right now, I'm definitely not in this kingdom. I might be on like in this general area, but this is definitely not my kingdom. Again, props to 712 for this awesome thing here. All right, let's see here. We're going to go back to our wars. So, WTF defeats Utopian crosswords. I don't think we saw that coming, but Orc versus Orc. Two great kingdoms. What do you expect? Anything can happen. All right, let's move on to the wars for today, though. Marauding Critters looks like they were defeated by Unknown Kingdom here. Let's take a quick look at the net worth chart to see what's going down here. Wow, okay, Unknown Kingdom definitely in control of this war. They were up to provinces as well, so no surprise that they were able to take that. So good job to both sides, and hope you enjoy your ceasefire. Let's move on to let's just quickly look at the honor side of this. Yeah, so this is pretty clearly that this war was on unknown kingdoms, and they fully took advantage of the fact that they were +2 provinces. No contest here, really. Let's look at the next one. Evil Friends. Hold on a second. I just want to check something before we go any further, because we do have another guest here that wanted to talk about one of the wars that we're currently going to be highlighting. I lost my spot here. You know what? I closed the window. That's why. All right, Evil Friends in Retirement Home. We'll have to come back to you here. Okay, let's see. Just look at the quick look at the war chart here. The war we're looking for is, oh, that's right. That's the one we're looking for. All right, Evil Friends versus Retirement Home. We do actually have a guest here as well that wanted to speak on the podcast. So I'm just going to unmute the audio here from the other side. Tony, are you still there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Awesome.
I'm the monarch of 1-4, so I just wanted to talk about the war.
Cool. All right, so let's just pull up the thing here. There we are. So 1-4. Can you tell us the name of 1-4, the kingdom name?
Retirement Home.
All right, Retirement Home defeats Evil Friends. So, what can you tell us about this war?
So we had gotten out of the war and we were looking for war targets. We thought Evil Friends was a good target to go after, so we started a dragon on them, but we didn't start attacking them until maybe later in the day. And then, they started attacking us back. We were substantially larger than them from a net worth perspective. Like on the land, we were pretty much the same, but net worth wise, when we started off, we were about 500K more. So we weren't sure if they would actually press the button, even if we gave them the button. So we did a learn wave on them to see if they would press the button, because we thought we could lose 1 or 2 attackers and still kind of win the war, because we had a dragon on them. So we started a ruby, they started an emerald, and so we thought they were interested, but they actually didn't declare. We both reached 90 points on the hostile meter before we declared, and we declared pretty much. Well, they gave us the button pretty much when our Godspeed sort of ran out. We had started a benediction, and that kicked in because we didn't want to cancel the benediction and stay at Godspeed. So we actually declared with the benediction, so it was slow return times. If you look at the people that, from a net worth perspective, if you just scroll down, we can talk to each one, I guess, quickly. I mean, for their strategy, they chained the most offense players. So Kryn was the highest offense, and then Dux, and then so on and so forth. So they did chain according to offense. And for us, when we started off, if you look at their change at the highest negative, Hell, Joker, and Hall were all three were, the first wave targets that we chained. So Hell was like a human that had the highest offense. Joker and Hall were pretty much thief mage, but they were attacking. So we decided to just chain them and quickly just they wouldn't really have much good fighting power when they're in the bottom. And then Evil Panther is low in the change here because he kind of killed the dragon. Same thing with Hens. Well, he didn't kill the dragon, but we killed him later in the war because he was fireballing us. Hans Gruber, he suicided on the dragon, so we were able to chain him and kind of massacre him to the ground.
Nice.
Same thing with, I guess, I don't want to go through each one, but just some notable ones, like Loki had really low TPA, so we were night striking him the entire war. So you can see his acre is up 750 acres, but he had 1 TPA, and we were just burning his watchtowers and just night striking him all war. Same thing with Mojo Jojo. He didn't have much offense leaders, so we didn't really touch him. But for the most part, all we did was just night strike him because he started off with pretty much 2 TPA or 1.5 or something low, and then we just night strike them all down. So I mean, long story short, in terms of how the war went, they did really, really good chains in terms of chaining our attackers. So you can see all our attackers are all pretty much down on the ground, but they left our thief mages our hybrids actually to grow, and we had a lot of unbreakables by the end that were just togging and spamming dragons, and as a result, they couldn't really control us from an econ perspective because we were massacring their elves, and then that was it.
Yeah, and so what about this Grand Pumpkin guy? I mean, this undead, he really just ran away with the acres there.
Yeah, he had like 0.3 TPA to start, so.
Nice. Oh man, that's nothing at all. That's crazy. And did you really even notice the fact that they were up 2 provinces? Like, I mean, was there a noticeable difference in the the number of ops or attacks being exchanged between you? Like, did you even notice that you were short 2 provinces?
Yeah, they were actually like, we were up 500 net worth when we started off the war. Like, we were up net worth, but from a province perspective, they invited like 3 provinces to start the war. That came in out of protection by the time we declared. So, and we knew they were coming, and they probably used some of the new provinces to sponsor their Emerald Dragon.
Right.
But they were pretty effective as well. But they're still like minimal effective, and they were just starting off.
Yeah, and I mean, you have no science, you have almost no WPA. I mean, it's really hard to train TPA without sacrificing defense or offense. I mean, pretty much anyone that invites a province into a war like that, I mean, that's just food for your attackers that get chained. I mean, I could see there's maybe some benefit to doing it, but I'm not a big fan of bringing new provinces on board. And in fact, when I do see kingdoms that do that, I'm actually happy to see that because, again, it's just food for my attackers that get chained. So more power to anybody that thinks that's a benefit to them bringing that in. By all means, go ahead, do it, but be prepared for that province to suffer greatly. Was there anything else you wanted to say at this time?
No, just a shout out to Retirement Home and everyone that was in the kingdom and for a good fight. And then also Evil Friends, they did really, really good chains. And I think, if they had did the econ control a little bit sooner with their elves, maybe the story would have been different. As well as if they had just they systematically chained the highest offense, but if they had maybe spread some of their attacks to just to keep the other provinces from running away from being unbound, like unbreakable, then I think they could have switched the war around as well.
Yeah, because I mean, from the net worth perspective side of things, considering you were down two provinces as well, I mean, you really did a good job keeping them in the same spot that they were at. They were really able to gain any traction at all in terms of net worth to get it back. But looking at the honor side of things, I mean, they were definitely milking the honor as much as possible.
That's right. Yeah.
They gained quite a bit of honor here, even more than you got for your victory bonus. I mean, but all that honor came from you. So I mean, it almost looks like they were only really interested in honor. Maybe they knew they were going to lose this war. Um, but again, looking at the land side of things, they didn't really. It's not like they suffered or anything. Both of you kind of grew. So despite the fact that they did withdraw, they withdrew in a pretty good position, I would say. So yeah, I mean that definitely indicates some measure of skill to be
Yeah,
able to do that for sure.
It's all the land hits of the chains because like they chained them so well that they had no defense. They just kept on tapping all their attackers and just taking all their honor.
Yeah, and that's probably all they were going for. But that's common with the gains, like a gains strategy. I call it like a best gains wave, where you're just purely going after as many acres as you can get and as much honor as possible. That's a tactic that I would typically use when I'm trying to exit a war that I know I'm not going to win, or on the flip side, one that I know I've already is not withdrawing. So obviously.
The offense is weird because like our net worth is so bloated with elites, so the chaining is not that great. So, but I mean, we chain like a few, and then the rest we sort of just selectively massacred or night strike and stuff. Like most of the damage is a little bit more on the night striking and dragon power right now.
Okay. I was just curious.
Awesome. All right, thanks you too. And of course, if you want to add anything to the conversation, just let me know and I will unmute the microphone. So let's move back into the wars in progress. So thank you so much for that one. We have a random wind. I guess that's now I understand a random win. I guess I mean it seems like they kind of randomly won. I mean, either side seems to could they would have been capable of taking this war, and we know that Dyslexic is not one to go down easy. I mean, they've had quite a few wars already this age, and they're probably going to go straight back into war again. As you can see here, both of these kingdoms actually, obviously Dyslexic went back into war sooner, but we have a random wind managed to. Go to war pretty quickly after their last ceasefire ended as well. Looking down at the numbers here, it looks like Random Win is actually two provinces short. So good on them for being able to take that. Let's see the honor side of things though to see what that looks like. Wow, yeah, I mean they really took that honor and walked away with it. It's as I said, unusual to see the kingdom with less provinces taking the honor side of it. But again, they were the bigger kingdom in terms of honor going into this. And despite Dyslexic's best attempts at trying to flip that around on them, they were able to change that within one wave, and wave after wave slowly pushed Dyslexic down, resulting in a nice takeaway of honor for them. So good job to both sides on that war. Again, shout out to Dyslexic Defenders, one of my favorite kingdoms this age. And of course, thank you to we have a random wind for tagging me in your kingdom name. Always love to see that. Um, it's two kingdoms now in this in this age. Pretty sweet. So best of luck to both of you, and I hope you enjoy your ceasefire. Next one on the go: Drunken Party defeats Chaos Neverending. I never really expected that to happen, um, but it has. So good job to Drunken Party for defeating Chaos. Definitely not an easy opponent, although it looks like Drunken Party didn't really have an issue with them from the get-go, as they're showing pretty strong dominance here. And I mean, even with Chaos's waves and damage, whatever they were doing, it wasn't very significant compared to the damage that they were taking. Just seems like wave over wave, they were getting the beat down, and they were the bigger kingdom going into this, net worth wise. So I mean, they should have been all over this one. Um, Slightly higher on the honor side, but as you can see, Drunken had a very strong grasp of this war from the TM side of things. Um, and that's kind of what contributed to their honor gains here. Quick look at what's going on down here. I just want to see what Drunken Party's running here. Kind of a mixture of things, right? So they got their fairy core, probably some halfling, maybe ATs. Um, their humans here, part of their core. Orcs, avians, their core. They might have some dryads in here, so for support casters. If I had to be a dryad, I'd probably think they would be like maybe this dwarf here. Maybe the avians or dryads too, but definitely not the best pick for avian. But nothing wrong with going support caster. They're great provinces. Everyone should have take a shot at playing an age as a support caster. It's definitely a fun and new way to experience the game if you're just used to playing a TM or attacker role. Um, but yeah, again, as I said, I kind of had thoughts that Chaos would easily take this war because I didn't really know who Drunken Party was, but it seems like whoever they are, they're definitely better at war currently than Chaos Neverending is because this age, as I said, Chaos has been doing pretty well. So good on Drunken Party for that victory. Good job, guys. Definitely a hard fought war. I fought Chaos plenty of times, and they definitely don't give up easy, especially recently. I don't know what's changed over at Chaos Neverending, but I feel like they've gotten significantly better in the past age or so. So definitely a kingdom if you want a good tough war. Um, you know, Either of these two would be a great choice. So let's move on to the last war here. Chain Gang is not Warbirds, defeats Pillow Talk is evolution. Normally Pillow Talk would make their best effort to win any war. But the fact that they withdrew here right at min time kind of tells us that they noticed the level of skill that the opponent had here and were very concerned about the outcome that this could potentially have for them. They were one of the bigger kingdoms before this war, right at the top. They outgrew Barco and they were kind of skyrocketed by their last victory. So they were kind of big at the top there. But again, both highly skilled kingdoms. We all kind of want to know who 4-4 is actually. Several rumors circulating, but we aren't able to know for sure. What we do know for sure is that the way that this war looks, um, it doesn't seem like Pillow Talk really ever had a chance. I think if they made a really smart move here, pulling out at min time, because looking at these charts, I mean, it seems like one side was definitely in control of this war. If we can get the Kingdom Net Worth chart to load here, it looks like. Oh, you know why? It's because the game just ticked recently, so it's probably just having a special Utopia moment right now. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, guys. Um, but wow, okay. So just a little bit of lag, I guess. Um, but as you can see by these, I'm just going to draw some lines here. The entry into the war. Looks like they both had very strong entries. However, Pillow Talk had a stronger, I think, faster wave. But as you can see, the way that this trend line is moving here, it's definitely in favor of the Blue Kingdom. I mean, we don't have to do too much explaining there, but they are really kicking butt wave over wave. I mean, look how quickly they achieve convergence here, and then they diverge and continue to maintain that trend all the way into victory. I mean, this is a no-brainer here. It was a very smart move for them to withdraw when they did. Whoever 4-4 is, they mean business. So again, if you're looking for a crazy tough war, and you want to fight the best of the best, either of these two kingdoms, go for it. All right, let's move on to wars still in progress. So we got the Worms and Checkmate War. There we go. Sorry, Worms checkmate versus Happy Birthday Bry. Look at the crazy amount of land net worth exchanged on this war. I mean, minus 5.5 million to minus 3.6 million. Let's just take a look at the net worth side of things here. Pretty consistent loss, however. They both started even, but it looks like Worms checkmate is taking over here. I think this is actually Barco Loco here as the Red Kingdom. So they're getting their butts kicked by Worms Checkmate. Quick look at the what's going on down here. Even numbers. I mean, look at this net worth change. Holy cow! I've never seen so much damage this age so far on the entire kingdom. I mean, almost the entire kingdom's taken is minus 200k net worth on this one. Um, you can tell who's taking more damage. It's obviously the Barco side here, the Red Kingdom. Happy birthday, Bry. So I'm not quite sure why they're still going on with this war. Uh, Quick look at the honor side of things kind of reveals why they're still going on with this war because I guess they just want some more honor out of this before they pull out because that's exactly what they've been doing. They came in the smaller honor kingdom and now they're just taking honor to leave. So I mean, I know Mogrim again was mentioning a lot about quad crowning this age, and Binar was calling him out in the chat I saw earlier about, hey, what's going on with that quad crown this age? So we'll see. We'll see who takes that one because despite Binar's being off for the summer, he's quite active in the chat. So maybe that says something about and I like to kind of do that as well. Usually I want my core to cycle down to the bottom if they can't turtle up at the top. But ultimately, by the end of the war, I want my TMs to be sitting at the top, the biggest provinces in the kingdom. Um,
They do look like they've been punished a little bit.
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, let's take a quick look I mean, where are their TMs here?
Yeah,
We got
they're
a
alive.
halfling. The biggest one is 250k net worth, and or sorry, 290k net worth, and only 1,200 acres. Where's their nearest ferry? Let's fix the net worth side of things here. So yeah, they got some. Looks like these halflings are actually taking hits. So um, looks like part of the strategy here for Worms is to take out the TMs because look here again. We got another ferry taking hits, another ferry taking hits. Looks like they're going after the TMs now. But
And at this point, we should be.
yeah,
But he's
interesting.
just won't withdraw until they have one road left.
All
Just
right,
claim with them. I know it. So.
all right. I'm gonna meet you back again, Stephen. Let me know if there's anything else you want to share. All right, let's move on to the next one. So best of luck to both sides there. Faceless versus at War STFO. Micro Kingdom versus Full Size Kingdom. Um, what did we expect to happen here? I mean, I kind of knew what I was expecting to happen, and that's exactly what happened. Let's see what's happening on the net worth side of things, though. Yeah, just like a skyrocket. I mean, one kingdom's like growing out of control. The other kingdom, it looks like they're just barely surviving there. Um, Maybe there was some interference from 9-1 here. It looks like someone. I think in this war actually somebody pressed the button by accident because let's see who 9-1 is. Because I was pretty sure when I checked the last time. Yeah, so 9-1 I guess are the D-bags for not staying out, or I don't know what's going on here with these guys. These guys are just entered into a war that they had no chance at winning. So have fun in your war status, guys. Yay gains. All right, let's move on to the next one. Get a Job is clearly defeating Lord of the Rings on the land standpoint, but does that translate into net worth? Yes, it does. Get a Job looks like they took control very early on in this war and are maintaining that control. What Lord of the Rings is doing staying in this war with minus 2 million net worth damage to minus 600,000 is beyond me. They haven't really given up too much honor because they didn't really have too much to give up in the first place. Um, and again, they are short a province, so there's a clear differentiation you can see here between The war we looked at earlier with Tony's Kingdom, retirement home, and how they were able to win so well with being two provinces short. I mean, in comparison to this kingdom here, it just looks like, this is basically like we were looking at the last war where the micro kingdom was facing the full size kingdom. I mean, are there really that many skilled players that can get a job? And does Lord of the Rings really, it almost seems like they were just sleeping on this war. Um, Definitely, if you guys have some more insight into this war, feel free to share it with me. But again, these one-sided wars, I don't really like to comment too much on because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings too badly. But anyway, this they just got pwned. I mean, I wish I had a soundboard for this one. I'd just be like pwned, and we move on to the next war. But good job, get a job because it seems like you're doing a great job at kicking Lord of the Rings' butt at war. So good job, guys. Let's check out the next one: Pirates versus Myths and Legends. It looks like Pirates is the bigger kingdom at the time, but at this time, but uh, Pirates has actually been doing pretty well this age. So I mean, this is definitely a great age for them, and it looks like they're on the right track to defeat Myths and Legends here, despite the fact that they're seemingly short of province. But it looks like this player, whatever he is, he's in protection right now still. It looks like he's just growing too, so that was probably a brand new province. They were on even terms from before. Looking at the net worth damage, they're almost even. Pirates has definitely taken some more damage, but they are in a winning position right now. So good luck, Pirates. Seems like you might have another victory under your belt, but I don't think your enemy's gonna give up easily if you can't swing this honor side around, or you never know if you're able to have a very strong wave. You might be able to convince them to withdraw sometime in the near future. But what I'm seeing here is kind of like you're able to achieve this convergence, but they're kind of pushing back a little bit, and then they push back even more. So unless you're able to actually successfully climb back on top of them, they might not withdraw anytime soon because, I mean, there's no need for them to. Looking at the net worth side of things, it's not like there's a huge gap there. You definitely had a strong wave just recently, it seems, but we'll see what their wave looks like and if they're in any position to at all. This war is only 57 hours in, and these are still some pretty big provinces. Looking at the net worth per acre side of things, seems like the highest concentrations are still on TMs on Myths and Legends size versus, looks like more attackers or chain provinces, which kind of leads me to believe that Pirates is in a slightly better position here. But looking at the fatter provinces, what do we have here? Mostly attackers on Myths and Legends side. I mean, wow, look at this Dryad here, Kraken, 3,229 acres at 600K net worth. That's pretty intense. Definitely the cow of the kingdom. Quick look at the other side here. Looks like we just got a bunch of gnomes here. I mean, and then a fairy at the top. So this fairy again doesn't look like is doing very much. May as well be inactive or dead. I just don't see that fairy contributing in any way to this war. So really, Pirates is kind of down one province actually. Uh, it doesn't look like this is probably a new province that started and or maybe a restart, but definitely in a bad spot right now for them. Again, anyone's war, still too early to tell. We are past min time, but the war did get kind of, it kind of looks like Myths and Legends was starting to flip it around, but Pirates was the bigger kingdom going in, and it seems like they've kind of been able to maintain that position. So best of luck to you guys on that one. Next war, we've got. Okay, so this is the kingdom that believes that I'm actually the monarch in. Um, Again, we're just going to take a quick look at their banner because I thought it was pretty funny. I might change one part of my Discord to show that banner because I thought it was pretty funny. So apparently, 7-4 here thinks that for this reason alone, I believe that this is my kingdom because of this wolf dancing around on the screen here. I mean, it looks pretty sweet. That's pretty funny. And they think that I'm Sailor Moon. So maybe Sailor Moon is sending some messages to the monarch, hinting that maybe they are me or something, or whatever the case is. I can definitely say, as I said before, it's definitely not my kingdom. I have no time to be the monarch of a kingdom or lead wars at this during this age. Um, I definitely wouldn't be doing this broadcast right now if I was in war and the monarch slash war leader of a war. So, that's out the window. But you guys can believe whatever you want. Again, 712. This is an awesome banner. I like seeing good banners, guys. Make sure you put a banner on your kingdom. Animated banners are always good, and make sure you use those taunt banners too, because I like those, and those will get featured on podcasts. So if you want your kingdom's banners to be featured on podcasts, I'm going to start showing them more. I'm going to use my 1-1 account to show people's banners and look at the kingdom quickly. I wish I had more intel fed into this so I could flip over to like the general side of things here and show you, like what people actually are. But until David gives me that kind of access, if he's even capable of doing that, we're just going to have to make do with seeing people's, just their kingdom pages and banners for now. So again, quick look at this war, 49 hours in, we're just past min time. Look at the land side. It looks like both sides just had a wave. They're really kicking each other's butts here. Net worth side of things kind of shows the same story. I mean, they're both kicking butt. No end in sight at this time. Looks like they're fighting to the death. But it does seem like, 4-7-4, the Red Kingdom here is actually managed to gain a better, stronger position on the honor side of things. Whether that translates into winning the war, I can't say at this time. But a quick look at, who the most acre saturated provinces are here. We got 4 attackers. And this elf could be a TM, but I want to say probably a hybrid attacker. If he is a TM, that's a very low net worth per acre, especially considering, how little honor's been done. Unless he's just been land lusting or something, then that would make more sense. But look at the other side, the quote unquote winning side, or so it seems at this time. They have all attackers at the top saturation as well. So these TMs, we're going to try and find them here by looking at the least saturated provinces now. What do we got at the top here? Looks like the ferries were attacked, so it looks like War's TMs were getting attacked here. And conversely, on the other side, it looks like TMs are also taking some hits, but they're still in a bit of a stronger position. To be honest, I think just quickly looking at the provinces and then acre saturations here, um, without considering too much of the attackers, this definitely looks like 7-4 has a good shot at taking this war. But again, when we look at the net worth, this could be anyone's war. I think this war is just going to come down to who has what offense, who has what defense, like more defense, more offense on the cores, who has the unbreakable TMs, do they have economies? This is a pretty significant drop here. I mean, both sides are fighting really, really hard because to achieve this, these levels of, you know, drop. I mean, they've lost so many millions of net worth, just after min time. This is kind of going back to that other war we were looking at where the kingdom had minus 5 million net worth. They're definitely on track to head in that direction. But a quick look at the pattern or the trends here indicates what I was saying before. It looks like, it's kind of a little bit skewed here, but definitely blue was in a stronger position entering, and they definitely were because they were the bigger net worth in the first place. So if we cancel that out, I'd say they're pretty much on par right now. But from the way that they played out their attacks and the waves, it looks like blue started off in a good position, but recently that's flipped over to um, 7-4, the Red Kingdom. So I definitely think that although it is a very close war, I think marginally, fractionally, the Red Kingdom is in a better position right now. So best of luck to you guys on that one. Let's move on to the next war. 39 hours in, so we're looking at wars now that haven't even reached min time. So one other thing that I was going to do to help cut down on the broadcast time length, and then also potentially have more viewers or more guests join me on the show um, was by not looking too in depth into these wars, or at least not looking into the wars until they reach min time. I think that's people are a little bit more interested in wars once they've actually gotten to that point, because there's so much that could happen when the war first starts out. I mean, I think it's more excitement that war is happening, rather than that what's actually happened. There's definitely some kingdoms I kind of plan on doing a full review on. So hopefully I can, find out about the war as it happens or as it occurs right away, and I can start pulling news and data right away. So hopefully before the end of the age, I'll be able to feature some wars like that, and hopefully I'll get some live guests that can speak on them as well. So OldGeezer Utopians. I mean, not much to say here. It looks like they're just mopping the floor with this is the kingdom. Let's check the net worth side of things to see what's actually going on. Yep, OldGeezer Utopians, fresh off their ceasefire from their defeat of, sorry, rather, of their defeat by ghetto vets. They got stomped out, similarly to how they're stomping out is the kingdom. So it looks like OldGeezer found a nice war to recover on. It's definitely nice to have, what seems like a sure win coming at you. They're definitely going to like the rest of their week going forward. They have some nice honor gains, some nice land, really nice land gains off this. So despite losing to ghetto vets, they're going to make it back with this war win here. I mean, I can safely say that they're going to take this. If they don't, very sad times. Let's move on to the next one. PainTrain versus Agreed 5-5. Now, PainTrain has been having some nice tough wars this past two ages, and they've had some really strong performances. Curious to see them getting mopped up here, or so it seems, by Agreed. I kind of expected PainTrain to be in a stronger position when I saw the name pop up. But definitely looks like maybe they ran into a kingdom that is equally skilled, and them being down the two provinces that they are is the only reason that they're in the position they're in right now, because they were definitely in a similar position starting this war. But maybe their wave broke down, maybe their chain broke down. I'm not sure, because if you look at the damage done by the enemy here versus the damage that they did, there's quite a big difference. I mean, this looks like prolonged damage was done to the Red Kingdom over a longer period of time, for 12 to 14 hours. Whereas you can see here, we've got our waves coming at PainTrain from the Red Kingdom, and these green circles here, these are their attackers attacking and taking out, whatever their chain targets are. And then I'm just going to draw a different color here. And then these squares here, this is the intermission in between where the TMs are doing, their thing, and maybe the core is slinging some fireballs and doing some night striking and things like that. As you can see, it's a night and day difference from the damage that's occurring on the Red Kingdom side. Again, it just looks like steady hits, like this could very well just be, like one attacker. Let's switch crayons here. One attacker, attacks there. One attacker attacks there, then there, and their whole wave is spread out, and then the whole time the TMs are doing damage as well. But that's not necessarily. I mean, it works sometimes, but I mean, it definitely doesn't look like it's working out too well for them here. Um, Normally, as I said, I wouldn't go too deeply into these wars, but this is PainTrain. And if they weren't a kingdom, I was kind of expecting to be performing better. We wouldn't be looking at this war so closely. Quick look at the acre side of things reveals that looks like their attackers took these dryads, possibly, their support casters as well. So that's fewer provinces to turtle with, although they didn't lose too much. Looks like they just took some controlling hits versus some attackers on this side. Again, this is probably one of those wars that's a bit deceiving on the charts, but definitely PainTrain not in the greatest position here, because on the net worth saturation side, or acre saturation side rather, what have we got at the top here? We've got a fairy, a gnome, an avian, and a bunch of avians down here. So we got some avians that are chained. On the enemy side of things, we got some dryads, humids, orcs, all attackers, except for this halfling here. Looks like it's probably a TM um, on the this side of things here. The higher saturation side though. on PainTrain. Looks like Orc, Halfling's probably an AT. That Elf is probably an AM. Um, Dwarf, that's probably an attacker, turtle attacker. Dryad's probably their support caster. And then looking at Greed 5/5 side of things, I mean, no one's really that low. I mean, they're all in a very strong position there to do things. Let's just take a quick look at what's going on with my meeting. It looks like the meeting unfortunately has ended because Google doesn't like long meetings. So apologize to my guests that I lost there. Um, I'm sure you know we will see and hear from them again. Let's just finish this up though because it is 11:30 and we do want to get through this today. So best of luck to PainTrain on that one. I'm not sure how they're going to pull out, but best of luck to them there. Quick look at the next war, the end of the world. Red Kingdom seems to be the bigger kingdom going into this war by quite a bit. Bigger kingdom net worth wise as well. Looks like they're still maintaining control on land and honor. Land and net worth side of things. Looking at the honor side of things, they're definitely in control of the honor as well. This looks like unnamed kingdom's war to take. We'll find out tomorrow though when we review the wars again. They'll be right around the min time mark. If not past it, yeah, they'll be past it already. So we might very well have a victor in this war by tomorrow's podcast. So let's look at the next one. Best of luck to everyone on that one. It looks like our friends Rejected Crowns is at war with Top Grill Burger. Um, one less player on Rejected Kingdom side, Rejected Crown side. Looks like they're taking the land now. They're only 26 hours in, but they are in control of net worth. Let's see if they're in control of honor as well. They are curving that honor extremely well. Good job, Rejected Crowns. This definitely looks like this is your war to win. Best of luck. If you want to share anything, reach out to me. You know how. Thank you so much for all of that you've given me thus far for the news. Definitely appreciate everything, all your contributions, Rejected Crowns, and congratulations on going back to war and looking like you're having an extremely strong performance here. So good job there. Looking at constellations and Metallics war. Let's take a look here. Wow, Metallics really lost some space there going into this war. Constellations is really doing a good job of going for that convergence. So they have already achieved convergence on the land side, the net worth side. Let's take a look at the honor side. Wow, that is very close to convergence. I would say that Constellations is having a very strong performance right now. And it definitely looks like Metallic just had their wave as well. So we can kind of probably expect to see this trend to continue throughout the war. Definitely going to be a close war, although I think Constellations is having better execution at this time. So best of luck to both sides. Let's move on to the next war. Unnamed Kingdom versus WARRRrr Greed. PSO, go team. All right. Looks like WARRRr Greed, go team is the bigger kingdom in this scenario. Um, but yeah, WARRRr Greed, go team is the bigger kingdom. Only 11 hours in though, but I mean, it definitely looks like, based on the growth in the honor here and the control on the honor and net worth side, this definitely looks like WARRRr Greed is in a better position. So best of luck to both sides on that one. It looks like the Woods has gone back to war. Now is this Cell? Yes, it is. It's Cell's Kingdom going back to something war. Let's see who's what's what in this one. We're only 6 hours in. Cell had a recent victory as well against Themeless, so hot off of that, I think he's happy to be back into war. Let's see what's going on with the target finder here. There we go. Okay. I wanted to see land though. Yep. So definitely, Woods is taking a beating there, but good move. I mean, you don't necessarily want to be acre fat at the beginning when TMs have the most power. Hint, hint to everyone out there. Taking tons of acres at the beginning, maybe not the best strategy. You might want to open with a good strong wave to take acres, and then subsequently switch your strategy after the fact. But it's definitely something to be mindful of. Looking at the network side of things, Woods rose to meet this kingdom out of their ceasefire. and it looks like they're doing a good job staying on top. So, Sel, I hope you learned a bunch of things from those past two wars that you were in, and it seems that you did, and so did your team. You're doing a good job here. Land is down, but however, net worth and honor are in your favor. We need to consider going forward. I think it has to do with how long the broadcasts are. So definitely. Um, Oh, sorry, I just want to read the chat here for a second. Good job on the podcast. And team streaming has been fun. I can only go back 10 minutes. Isn't that you? 712 wind. Their banner shows your avatar. No, it's not actually my avatar. I mean, it kind of looks like it is. It's a funny avatar, though. I have to say. I mean, good job to whoever the creator was there. Just looking at the chat there, it's definitely not my avatar. But thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and stay tuned for the next podcast. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day or a great night. This is your host, Wind, signing off.